Welcome to EnduringTechnologyPress.com. I'm Eric, and great food doesn't have to be intimidating. And a key example of this is homemade whole wheat pasta. You can buy fresh pasta or go to some expensive fancy restaurant and get fresh pasta, but it's just as easy to produce it at home. Really, it's a breeze. The only investment is actually pretty low end. Here we've got an Atlas 150. These things are like 20, 25 bucks. Usually you can pick them up used. They're the perfect tool for producing homemade rolled pasta. Now, this is how easy it is. We've got our home ground flour. We've just ground up freshly. A tablespoon of salt. We're going to dump that into our bowl on our stand mixer. Mix it around to incorporate the salt and flour. Here we've got our liquid ingredients. We've got our eggs. We've got a little bit of olive oil. We're going to pour that in. Scrape the rest of those awesome eggs out. The eggs give a really rich flavor. Now, if your whole wheat flour is low in protein, you might want to add a tablespoon of vinegar to it. The acid will assist the gluten in forming those bonds and making it what you expect from awesome pasta. But our grain in this case tests out at about 14.5%, 15%, so I'm not even bothering here. We're going to put this in the stand mixer. We're going to mix it and knead it with the dough hook, for about 15 minutes until we get something that's really smooth, really elastic. I'll keep on monitoring it to make sure the moisture content is right. Again, this is home ground flour, so it's not quite as straightforward as using commercial flour, but it gives you a richness that you're not going to get anywhere else. And certainly a nutritional profile that you're not going to get from white or even regular flours from the grocery store that may advertise themselves as being whole wheat. The key here is you want to have a nice elasticy dough, and you don't want to rush the process. So you want to make your dough up ahead. You want to allow it to rest at least an hour in your fridge in a Ziploc bag. That's usually my first choice for putting it away. And you can even do it, leave it a day, 2 days, make it ahead of time. That way you get that work out of the way, and then actually rolling the pasta and producing it is very, very straightforward, easy, fast process. Basically, by the time your water's boiling, you'll be able to roll out your pasta and have it ready to go. If you're making a more complex stuffed pasta, well, it takes a few minutes more, but it's certainly well worth it. We're just going to make a straight spaghetti with homemade sauce today. So we're starting this out ahead. I'll go ahead and knead it, and then I'll come back after we've allowed it to rest for a couple hours in the fridge in that Ziploc bag, and we'll show you how we go ahead and roll it out. Okay, so we've given our pasta dough time to sit in the Ziploc in the fridge. And we're going to cut off what we want for our meal today. I'm going to flatten it out a little bit. These rollers, and this is the Atlas 150, it's a cheap one. Just a reminder, you don't wash these in the sink, they'll rust. Just wipe them down and you shouldn't have a problem. So, flatten out your dough. Expand your rollers to the largest that it can go. Okay. And then you're going to put in the crank and you're going to crank it down. Okay. Flip it over in half. We're going to go through a couple times. We're going to go through a couple of times to get a nice elasticy material. And then once we've got that done, we're going to go and I think this is about accurate, about the texture that I want. And you can see here that it's the width of the rollers. That's not super important unless you're doing something like ravioli or lasagna noodles or something like that. If you're just doing spaghetti or linguine, it can be a little bit easier. Okay, so this is what we've got. We're going to do it one more pass through at the present thickness, and then we're going to start reducing the thickness. And as we get thinner, we're going to get a longer sheet. I usually find that I'll end up chopping it in half or something like that. This pasta cooks quicker than most of your dried pasta would. So I usually find that having your water to boil by the time you start this process is about perfect. So we've got our salted water behind us boiling. Just going to cut it in half. And I'm going to use a number 6 pass for this. That's a little bit thin, but there we go. Okay, now on this you've got your spaghetti grooves and you've got your linguine grooves as you choose. We're going to do spaghetti tonight. So this is one of the sheets. The other thing you'll find is that you may need to flour your work surface. But usually with whole wheat flour, I find that I don't need to do that. I can get away without it. So sometimes have to be fairly gentle. Take this out. We're going to put it over in our boiling water. Roll it a little bit more, and we're looking for al dente. So once it reaches that consistency, we'll pull it out. This is really easy, really fun. You know, for an investment of about 20, 25 bucks, this is well worth it. It's a lot of fun. Kids really enjoy doing this as well. So for more on this and other cool things to empower your independence, go to EnduringTechnologyPress.com. The link for the recipe is in the show notes below. Thanks.